What's going on, world? It's your boy Gemini Brown here, back with another episode of Not Locating Knowledge. Once again, Happy New Year. Welcome to 2024. Many of you know we started 2024 off with some energy brought by the one and only Katt Williams. And today, we'll be taking a look at his natal chart. So, let's get into it. Now we're going to examine his natal chart here, which is going to give us an understanding of why Katt Williams is how he is and kind of how his energies have played out. There's a video on my Patreon that shows why he went viral astrologically. Okay. And for that video, I really dive into his progressed horoscope. Okay. And I say that to say this, always keep in mind, astrology is a 360-degree maze where understanding towards things and correspondences can be found at every turn. There's no just said way to do anything. It's truly how you look or perceive the thing. Check out my website if you're interested in coming through to the Lion's Den, which is, my astrological get together where we talk astrology, go over, different topics and dope things like this. Feel free to check out my website, reach out with your availability. So let's get into it. Katt Williams, born September 2nd, 1971, is an American comedian. He first came into our consciousness playing the role of Money Mike in the film Friday After Next. And from there, he's gone on to make a legacy as one of the greatest comedians, not only of his generation, but of all time. Now, on Club Shay Shay with Shannon Sharpe, Katt Williams decided to come and speak his truth in regards to a lot of matters. And I'll get to like the why of that, but we're going to start with his natal chart. His natal energy is potential and just seeing certain things. I feel like, yeah, there's some funny things to definitely address. So we see Katt here is a Virgo sun, born with Venus conjunct his sun. Many of you who follow my channel know we've linked this specific conjunction towards traits of narcissism as well as those who attract narcissists. Because remember, context always matters. And with this, a Sun Venus conjunction always brings a layer of magnetism, talent. The individual is creative in some way. Now, Venus is traditionally debilitated in Virgo, which once again, for each chart is going to have its own context. But at the most minimum level, we can say Venus in Virgo feels underappreciated by others, or they have to work for the things that they want or work harder. So when Venus conjuncts the sun here in Virgo, this is indeed a worker. This is someone in whatever they're going to do, their objective is going to be to outwork you. And really, we find a technician here because Venus conjunct Sun in whatever sign holds the potentiality of really becoming a master or having a natural talent at whatever you apply your creative energies to. And here in Virgo, the sign of analysis and discernment, at the word technician really comes to mind. And if you've watched Katt Williams stand up, I think you'd agree. On a deeper level, anybody who's got my Astrology Essentials webinar knows, like, I always like to assess the relationship between the sun and the moon when looking at an individual. So a Virgo sign here with the moon in Aquarius, Mars in the North Node at that, Mars being retrograde here as well. This speaks of, we see relationships as being a major theme already with the Sun conjunct Venus, but this here adds a layer of detachment. And if I were to look at this, let's say in a past life sense, I would say there's likely a karma of the person feeling not good enough for others, not feeling celebrated by the group, feeling overlooked for its actions or efforts. The key thing here, it's several things, but the key thing is the retrograde energies, Mercury and Mars. Mercury is ruling over the Sun, the Venus, that's retrograde, and 12th from the Sun and Venus. So that has its own significance, which is kind of overstanding the same theme. Then we have Mars here, retrograde, conjuncting the North Node, and then the Moon here in Aquarius as well, all pointing towards the need to reflect upon or redo certain expressions regarding these energies. For me, what comes to mind here, particularly with the Mars, is themes of masculinity. If we look at it, Katt Williams is a short guy, so that may be a natural insecurity turned motivation. I always try to tell people with retrograde energies, it's about you and your relationship with the energy. And when we get to the Mercury retrograde, we'll really understand that. But here, what I see is like one having to really overstand the themes of Aquarius, which is freedom of expression. So this is someone who is very conscious of their need to exert their individuality and will. And when we look at Mars in this tight conjunction with Uranus, this really amplifies those themes. So this is someone who was never really meant to fit in. In fact, a major theme of like his whole chart is kind of like fuck the establishment, or I'm gonna do it my way. A Mars in Aquarius here, retrograde, North Node, is kind of like, okay, I'm not gonna try to fit in. I'm gonna liberate myself on my own accord. And one's ability to do so really connects them with the masses. Hence how this how the message was delivered. Now there's other correspondences to show why it went viral at the time that it did, but I'm just showing that this person holds the viral potential, and it rests within not following the trends or being like others. And I just invite you to think about how we got to know him as a pimp, Money Mike, a character, but this still a aspect of himself. So I feel like this whole Aquarius part here is really strong. And then, like I said, it's in trying a harmony uh, to Uranus, and that is in harmony with Saturn. But the next major theme, what I was saying, is kind of like fuck the establishment, or this person was never meant to fit in. And that is Sun and Venus squaring this Saturn. This is an interesting one. Sun and Saturn is ultimately the key to becoming legend. It is. It's like it's a legendary aspect, okay? Regardless how you slice it. Now, this person we're talking about is indeed a legend. The key thing here with this square is how they feel about their accomplishments. So on one level, this person feels like, yo, shit is harder for me. On the next level, they feel like, yo, I'm overlooked. So if we get a little bit deeper and, kind of go into the person's story, which he hinted at a little bit in the interview, saying he left home early. I think he said he left home at 13 or so, reflecting that having a lack of structure, let's say within the childhood, a difficult childhood, and kind of having to create that for yourself through like learning on the fly. Saturn here in Gemini, here at the top of the chart, is a self-made kind of aspect, entrepreneurial aspect. Remember, Gemini representing agility. So one of the lessons connected to a Sun square Saturn is a learning of the positives of structure or authority, right? In this case, allowing others to assist, not feeling like you have to do everything. So I see within Cal Williams a highly intelligent individual, a really hard worker, and just someone who has to do it their way, has to be rebellious, is truly in their nature. I think this the dope part of astrology is it's what you see is what you get energetically sometimes, especially when it's manifesting on a higher degree. I wanted to add in real quick this Jupiter Neptune conjunction to go along with this Mercury at 27 degrees. High intellect here, high wisdom and perception. Okay. The degrees here add to that. And then the Jupiter and the Neptune here, this definitely adds to the reason why Cat kind of embellishes things. The way I go about life is just understand that great storytellers are great storytellers for a reason. Like, we all know, like, you can tell a story one way or you can add some spice to it and then, it comes across better. This could literally be someone having the gift of gab, and it's just a matter of how they choose to express it. The trickster mentality can be there. The next interesting uh, thing that I saw in Mercury Jupiter in regards to Cat not indulging in substances and things of that nature, that can be seen as just like the sacrifice one makes to tap into their greater potential. What I've seen in my years is that you have some artists who are like, yeah, I enjoy this, or I need this to get me there or to expand me to that point, right? So this Jupiter Neptune can be that artist that is lit all the time and chooses to want to be in that place. But at the same time, with that square to Mercury, it could represent like, all right, this is a little bit too crazy for me. I prefer to be sober, or I'm just willing to sacrifice this. Okay, so literally, once again, like a toss up. So what you see is not always what you get, but you just never know, and that's that's divinity in a sense.